Welcome back, everyone. We are getting into this PvP very, very soon between ShoWTimE and Hellraiser. And you get those two correct.
Yeah.
Isn't that difficult?
No.
Very, very soon. I am ZombieGrub, joined with In Control for this lovely PvP. We're going to see who goes down to the losers match to face Rainer, which is weird, and who goes to the winners match versus Marine Lord, who played a very good TVZ.
Yes, he looked amazing, and we're guaranteed a TVP in that winners match, so I'm excited to see that as well. But this shakes things up, right? Like, you're not expecting to play Rainer for your elimination match, so both these guys are probably pretty pissed, and that makes this PvP more of a knife fight.
Yes. Well, PvP's already a knife fight, but even more so. Yeah, exactly. The game has already started. Quickly into it. I expect great things from this PvP. I think they both these players are usually very good at this matchup. Hellraiser especially has actually kind of made his mark, not in his PvZ necessarily, which is what you would expect from anyone in Europe, but actually a lot of his PvP has made his run through the qualifiers a little bit easier. Not that it was easy at all. ShoWTimE actually qualified through the ladder race. Still got that pretty high MMR. But his PvP has usually been pretty good. But last time I said that, I feel like it actually didn't do so hot.
Did you curse him?
I'm cursing everyone.
All right.
So but, I mean, you know, maybe it'll be different this time.
It is what it is.
Yeah, yeah. We are loaded into the game in the top right as the red Protoss. That is Hellraiser.
Very good. From the Ukraine. And in the lower left-hand side, it's the German Terran player, Hero Marine.
Nailed it.
Tobias Schieber.
He's German.
Yeah, they're all Hero Marine now.
Yeah. Everyone's Hero Marine.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, ShoWTimE is he's having a tough, I mean, years plural maybe at this point. I mean, like last year wasn't
tough
so
for
bad
him.
for him, but yeah, exactly. Tough for him is the best way to put it. Kind of got last year started off on the right foot, and then it just didn't really ever come back. And then he started off this year making just the rounds on ladder. Everyone was like, yeah, he's so good, he's winning so much, his MMR is like stupidly high. And obviously it was still good to win the ladder race to get here, but lackluster in the tournaments. Winter wasn't that hot for him. That's what I was thinking of, and I was like, yeah, I could have sworn he was going to do well there, and actually got knocked out.
You're not wrong. It's just, it is that scene is getting tight. I mean, last year was dominated by Serral, so the best you could really do is like a top 2 or 3, quite literally. And that's, of course, going to take anyone, especially a player like a ShoWTimE, and kind of diminish the feeling of the year. But now, you also have Rainer. So it's not even just Serral anymore. It's like Serral and Rainer are going to be fighting for the championship of just about every European tournament. And that leaves these guys sliding that much further down. So we're starting to see like this social media from like a Laser and ShoWTimE after each one. They're like, I've forgotten what it's like to win.
Yeah.
And it's not that they're playing terrible. They are just not getting the results they're used to because this game is escalating.
It is super difficult. Everyone had to kind of catch up to Serral, and they've basically done so, right, this year with the tournament results. But
so far.
yes, other people are still trying to like find out that what the secret is here. Laser was talking about like working on his macro a lot more, right? And ShoWTimE, I think ShoWTimE said he especially had problems in PvZ, which would make, if he gets sent down to the loser bracket to face Rainer, that would be, I mean, hopefully he's fixed it, right?
Right.
But I think both of these guys are hoping to get the winner's match, not just because, obviously, you want to get to the winner's match, but because that PvT might be more manageable for both of them.
Yeah.
But either way, they're looking to win the series. It's always good. It's what you want to do. It's how you win StarCraft.
Winning is how you do that. I agree. The scary scenario, not to get too far ahead of myself, but like, there's also the scenario where Marine Lord loses the winner match and then gets Rainer in the decider match, and then that curse happens again, where all is avenged and Rainer advances second after beating Marine Lord.
I think that's actually what's going to happen.
Ugh.
Be a bold prediction and say that's exactly what's going to happen.
It'd be gut-wrenching, but after yesterday what TLO did to Disc, I don't know.
Yeah, you guys got the exciting match after 10 hours.
Yeah.
You guys deserved it.
We needed something.
All right, so we did have two pretty different openers. ShoWTimE does go for the Stargate, also with 6 Adepts making their way across the map. This is going to be tough, even if you know exactly what's coming, exactly like where they're coming from. It's just a lot of units that have the potential to move between bases very easily.
And they can knock down, so a lot of times you'll throw up that emergency shield battery to block them from going in. 6 one-shot it. But letting him finish would be tough too. No, never mind. He's just going to go for it. 2 Stalkers being warped inside that main mineral line, but a lot of probes are going to die. And actually sloppy control here, as Hellraiser's not quite targeting it down, so ShoWTimE says, don't mind if I do.
Oh, yeah, that was...
8 probes. Whoa.
That's pretty nasty. That was just not quite paying attention, trying to manage that low ground fights. Even more probes are going to go down. Kind of freebies here. Just, oh, not that one. That one's particularly shield battery. But now we have 2 oracles in the corner that can come back, and even if there was a shield battery, it wouldn't matter. Even if there are 2 stalkers that kill one of them, maybe one still lives, and they combined still get 5 more probes.
It's going to be a problem here. And now Hellraiser sees a couple of Adepts trying to shade forward. This is actually a pretty good pickup. It exposes mineral line, so the 2 Adepts are like, yeah, okay, if you want to go ahead and grab that, that's fine. Ooh, actually they're going to stay in that main, and there it is. You called it. 1 oracle does die for just the 4 probes. Now 5 actually dying in the lower. Nope, right up here. 6. Ugh. Yeah. It's still worth it, though. So it does end up only just being a 3-worker advantage, but Hellraiser had the faster Nexus and actually went into this with a probe lead and comes out of behind.
Yeah, exactly. So this really isn't as bad as it might seem if you look at the total workers lost. He's only down by 3. He's going to go into Blink. He's finally slapping on that Forge as well, replacing those sentries that I lost. Very heavy gas loss. And ShoWTimE, a little afraid of maybe like a counter. He was sacrificing almost all of his units to do that, but it actually went really well for him. So 2 shield batteries might look a little, you know, unnecessary now, but they might help out later. He is going into Immortals, so even if the Blink Stalkers start to harass him or they actually try and take a direct fight at the front, it probably wouldn't go that well.
No. No, it would not. And Hellraiser does this thing, by the way. I don't know if he's going to do it here. He already kind of is, where he just makes a lot of Blink Stalkers. It catches a lot of people off guard because typically, as the game goes, that becomes a big liability for facing multiple Immortals. You see a Dark Shrine down there as well. Nice. It could just be a bad fighting composition, but you can catch someone trying to take a fast third, or they're teching to a Robo a little bit too fast or something like that. But he's not really building more Stalkers here, so I don't think it's happening.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like ShoWTimE really was expecting some type of counter. I mean, he did scout the Twilight console, so he was researching. So he was, again, like overly prepared with the Hallucinated Immortal, but a nice little touch. And we use his next hallucination to probably get some more. Well, no, he sells the Oracle life, so he doesn't even have to do that. The Oracle is trying to scout exactly what's going on, but it can't scout that Dark Shrine. It's just not a place that you would usually go to. Luckily, ShoWTimE does have at least 1 observer. I mean, he made a Robo after all, and it is staying at home.
Okay.
So.
Which is not a guarantee. That's good, because sometimes you will just throw that across there, but ShoWTimE living up to that kind of the name, the wall, as it were. Doing a good job being defensive here. And you got to take Hellraiser serious that way. This is another thing, too, is that these guys are at the top of the ladder. They play against each other all the time. And, oh,
nice.
Wow, that's kind of cute. I didn't actually know you could do that, to be honest with you, which is silly. I thought I just always caught what was in that field. But anyways, Hellraiser is very aggressive, and you cannot... I don't think you go into Hellraiser and say, I'm going to cut all these corners, take really fast thirds, that kind of thing. Feeds into his strength.
Yeah, yeah. He is going for an interesting combination, right? So we have Resident Glaives following up that Blink, which isn't so surprising anymore, I suppose, but then also pretty quickly adding on a Robotics Bay. So, I mean, is that...
Disruptors.
I would say Disruptors.
It is.
9 times out of 10.
Jeez Louise. Okay, so this is where I was going to tell this cool story again, where I watched him practice against Hearthstone, and they were helping each other out, and it was Disruptors every time, and it was really good for the... It was like defensive Disruptors, which is very interesting. He'd do a lot with the Stalkers out on the map, and then you try to counterattack against him, and then you get bought by these Disruptors. But he's just going straight to Colossus, which you were kind of hinting out. Now even a DT drop on top of it as well.
I mean, I just did that thing where I talked long enough.
Wait to see what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you have become a master commentator.
Thank you. So the War Prism harassment is going to come in. The Observer is still at home. It's still only 1. No, it's home-ish. It's at least close.
Yeah.
It's no longer with the army, and it's going into the main base. So this will do some damage. The probes, how quickly they pulled. I mean, he knows there's at least something coming out. Now he realizes it's DTs. 5 probes instantly going down. The shield battery even getting swiped at, and the War Prism. Oh, Jesus. That's a little dangerous. A little dangerous. You could recall that even if you couldn't get that out some other way.
Yeah.
Which I don't think. Oh, now he has to.
Kind of funny on the reaction, though. If I'm not mistaken, there was actually no detection in the main, but because the army showed up as fast and furious as it did, as a Protoss player with 4 DTs and a Warp Prism, you're not going to risk that you're like, I don't think there's detection here.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to be like, no, there probably is. I'm out.
That is usually the correct call. Stalker's trying to find an additional opening.
Maybe there was, though.
An observer?
Yeah.
No, he only has one.
No, he's got two.
You're right, he made the second. Maybe that popped out and we were
I think so.
all blind.
Still cool, though.
Yeah. +2 is faster for ShoWTimE. Has he scouted the Colossus yet? I know he's been sending out some hallucinated Phoenix. No, he saw Templar Archives with no robotic space, so he might really be thinking that's, you know, exactly what he's doing, really, the Archon charge lot, but it is not. More DT harassment. Gets the cannon. That's always nice. I mean, the quick cancel, but here's finally the Blink Stalkers find that pretty juicy opener, so 7 probes total go down, and most of the Stalkers end up living?
Yeah.
All of them.
Great army movement so far from Hellraiser, just kind of playing this like a fiddle, but it is going to be a Phoenix made off of that Stargate. Nicely done by ShoWTimE to kind of shut this down, and to your point, Colossus is that weird tech in PvP where if you do not scout it, it does change things. So ShoWTimE's adding his own robotics bay.
Yeah.
And what's funny about that is obviously if he just tries to go into Colossus now, it'll just infinitely be worse, right? He'll have the 1 or 2 versus the 4 or 5. If he goes into Disruptors, those are okay, but they're not a fantastic answer for Colossus. Obviously the dream scenario is, yeah, if you land, you know, 4 or 5 explosions on top of them, they're great. And he does see the Colossus now, but it's just very unlikely to happen. They have that long range, they should be split up, and 1 or 2 Disruptor hits is not that big of a deal. It's just, it's a tough composition for ShoWTimE to be looking at right now.
I feel like it's been forever since I've seen a PvP go beyond that +2 attack with very similar army composition.
Yeah.
So they usually just force the game at that point. But this is definitely going beyond that. ShoWTimE even going for +1 armor, went into double Robo, so he's going to catch up pretty quickly on those Colossus, or if he goes Disruptors. I mean, I actually like that. It's funny because at one point PvP was entirely Colossus-based in the previous expansion.
All of HOTS?
Yep, exactly. Yet when you see it now in Legacy of the Void, it's always like, is that better than the chunky Archons or the Zealots getting a wraparound? Well, if they have a choke, then of course Colossus are going to be pretty effective. So ShoWTimE's trying to make his wraparound actually come from behind on that army as well as to the side. That's about as good as he can hope for. Actually, Hellraiser very paranoid here.
Yeah.
It's a good move. He's going to pull away from that third base.
Doesn't want to get pinched. The Adepts pair really well with this, but as I say that, the Adepts are specifically worse against Disruptors. So for right now, not the biggest of deals, but there's now 3 Disruptors, I think, out. Going on towards 5, or maybe it's just the 1 going towards 3. Either way, as that number grows, this Disruptor shot could be ridiculous. Oh my god.
That was an amazing shot. All the Adepts clumped up, even the 1 sentry there for a Guardian Shield.
Yes.
And not a lot left over. 3 Colossus are going to burn through the charge lots, I suppose, whatever's left. Okay, but that was a
He's like, how about no more Adepts?
Drastic difference. Yet Hellraiser still walks out of there at least with an army supply lead.
Which is good, but now I start to tilt the scales more in favor of the Disruptors because, again, the Adepts are basically, you cannot do that. That's a dead tech. Stalkers are not much better as long as the immortal count remains fairly high, which I believe it's big. That is your answer against everything over there. So, oh, it's only 2. Okay.
Yeah.
But with double Robo, you can kind of rebuild that. Disruptors make this really complicated. The nice thing for ShoWTimE as well is he's the guy with Stargates. So you can see Hellraiser's adding Stargates because that's what you want as your answer. And he's adding his own Disruptors as well for Disruptors. But there's already a Phoenix, there's already Stargate out for ShoWTimE, so he has that as well.
It's very weird. We're moving back into Blink Disruptor, but also they're both wary of it, so they're also both like countering that with Phoenix. That is pretty weird. The Phoenix do also help against the Colossus. Usually not a ton, but these are getting all those freebie shots. They will take out the Observer. The Colossus will go down. ShoWTimE now has that 30 army supply lead and an upgrade lead and is looking for the win.
Oh my god. Yeah, he's going to take this one. He's chasing back. The Colossus is dead tech. The Archons are getting their shields peeled off. This 4th base will get canceled, and ShoWTimE has the dominance. Now, there is a bit of a wall into that natural, but he's like, that's fine. I can sit on the outside and huff and puff and blow the house down. Nice little DT drop. I think that's actually maybe the same DTs. No, they got recalled back. Never mind.
Yeah. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh, that was a pretty good shot. But still 3 Disruptors left over and a heck of a lot of army that isn't exactly clumping up. So Hellraiser, as great as, oh my, chaos. As great as Disruptors are, we're not going to bring them back. GG. What an odd little PvP. Usually you say that because the first 10 minutes are a little weird, you know, proxy pylons, but that was weird for the after 15 minute mark.
It was a nice bounce back from ShoWTimE. I thought Hellraiser with the DT drop, the Colossus tech was doing a great job orchestrating a pretty decent advantage for himself. Disruptors were the absolute right call from ShoWTimE, but it was also a little bit, and I'm going to say this, and people hate it when I say this, or anyone says this, but like, there's luck. The fact that he went Glaives with that composition, and ShoWTimE decided to go Disruptor as his immediate response to Colossus, paired up super nicely for ShoWTimE. If it's not a Glaives, which otherwise, by the way, against, and this is kind of funny because not to throw Zombie Grove under the bus, but she was like, I think Charge Lot Archon, what, why not that? That's a good composition. That's what a lot of people think, and that's why Hellraiser went with Glaives. They actually would have been the answer for that composition, even getting a full surround and stuff. But with Disruptors, we saw one shot. I mean, what was the value of that? It was probably 2,000. It was like 16 adepts maybe or so died.
I was gonna say I don't know about resources, but I could take a
it's a lot.
guess at how many adepts went down. Yeah, I mean
it's bad.
It was all about that Disruptor shot.
Right here.
Hellraiser had a bit of an army supply lead, but it also was kind of weird because ShoWTimE was getting this really good concave actually, as Archons were getting all these blasts off on a very clumped up army.
Yeah.
But obviously the Disruptor made it the easiest thing in the world, and otherwise he probably would have lost it.
Oh my God.
Nicely
Nice job production.
Yes, very nice job. That was.
Wow.
You guys didn't
in
catch that.
slow-mo as well. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but my concern was still over those Colossus, right? Like, are they really the next best thing in PvP? Because they are making their way back in multiple matchups. And I guess PvP was kind of the last one they reappeared in. But now they're doing it more commonly.
They're a funny unit. Like, in this case, against what ShoWTimE just did, he made them look really speculative and bad, right? But in a lot of PvPs, they're just so weird because they don't do massive damage, but they do good damage to, like, Zealots and Adepts, which are two of the things you see a lot of in the early game of PvP. And even Stalkers are obviously not bad, but, like, everything is good against Stalkers. So they're kind of a weird unit in that when there is an answer for them, they fall off the face of the earth really quickly. But when there's not an answer, they just kind of, three of them just do all this damage, and it's a big problem. So
yeah.
But Hellraiser, up until that point, was playing so good. His Stalkers were jumping on the third. He was coming back from what was otherwise a great timing attack by ShoWTimE, killing all those probes. And then the DT drop work was really good, too. It wasn't killing 30 probes, but it was not dying, which is a big deal. And then ShoWTimE just put on a show.
Yeah. Guess it was a pretty important timing with that Disruptor.
Yes.
So, now we get into game number 2. In the bottom right, down 1, it is the Red Protoss, Hellraiser.
There's no sound.
Dun, 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 dun.
There's the music, yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's what I'm missing, right? The drum beat.
Yeah.
And his opponent on the top left-hand side, I joked earlier and said Hero Marine. It's not. It's the Blue Protoss ShoWTimE, you silly gooses. Or geese. You silly geese.
You silly deersies. Yes. Yes. And he is, I mean, up 1. That, it wasn't exactly a commanding game. It really was about that one Disruptor shot.
Yes.
But so much of PvP, even if they aren't doing some weirder compositions, is that scouting, that positioning. And they were both pretty darn good at that. There was constant scouting from ShoWTimE, and that's why he was able to see the Colossus instead of just be like, oh my god, Colossus, what a surprise.
Right.
And then there was that constant harassment from Hellraiser that's, ShoWTimE isn't as good defensively. Suddenly those DTs get 15 probe kills, where the Stalkers killed 10 extra probes or whatever it was. He was very active out on the map. And ShoWTimE, as you pointed out, was taking it very seriously. He's taking Hellraiser's aggression very seriously, really over-prepping even with the shield batteries, stasis trap, and hallucinated immortal.
You have to. You could see how good Hellraiser is at picking a player apart. ShoWTimE's known for his defense, and he still almost crumbled. So good effort. Nice. I was expecting a good PvP, and I think we got that. It was a nice little opening salvo there. We got that shot. Europe seems to always deliver with WCS. These players are really, really competing.
Yeah. I will say that yesterday felt like it might be the weird chat.
There's a Cero group.
Yeah, but like Cero groups, you would say like, Cero just like 2-0, which he did, but I mean like faster, right? And the rest of the group is not as long, but it was absolutely the longest day.
Yeah.
And,
the other 3 players made the story. Yes.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Harsum going to that with that mentality of PvZ. Nurchio almost making it out of the group. but falling to a laser. And it's nice to see a laser advance too, right? Like, it's sad that it wasn't Hearthstone because everyone likes Hearthstone. He's a great guy, and you want to see him do well. But a laser too. You know, he's one of those guys that every time he doesn't get the result that he wants, he tweets out and says, "I'm sorry, I'm trying really hard." So it's nice to see him get that result.
Yeah, he even tweeted out even after, you know.
Did he?
Winning. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep.
So it feels good, guys. Please cheer for me.
Something along the lines of it was really close. He needs to work on his mechanics.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I hope he'd work in a criticism. Nice little move here. This is kind of funny how subtle this is, right? So the probe goes up there to take the opening salvo, which gives the first 2 shots to ShoWTimE. And ShoWTimE even actually gets the probe out. Now, at the end of the day, it's not a big deal. But again, this is one of those moments where if Hellraiser's not paying attention, this goes 2-0 real quick in favor of ShoWTimE. And he's off to go fight Marine Lord, which is the surprise winner match for one of these Protosses. They got to like that.
Yeah.
Marine Lord's good, don't get me wrong, and in TvP, but I think he'd probably tell you one of the reasons why he retired for a little while was lack of an enjoyment of the matchup of TvP for him.
That's a very good way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is not so dangerous, but 2 sentries, the vulnerable units there.
Oh my God, we keep seeing that.
Yes.
It's so good for me because I do that every day. Every day.
He was so good about keeping that sentry behind.
He's like, "You're dead." He's like, "I don't want you to take shots." No, who did that? It was Puck. Puck killed like 3 Archons yesterday of his own army.
Yeah.
Advance first in the group.
Does happen. That's an expensive loss. It was also the high energy sentry in case he needed.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's terrible.
Right? Like, yep. Okay. Well, I mean, last game he started off, you know, down 2 sentries because of the adept attack, and now he's just down only 1. So it's actually better. There you go.
Very fast glaive, by the way. This
is
super, super fast.
Like the last game, I wasn't surprised because again, adepts have been making their way in, Colossus too, but it was like a little later than I expected. But this is the attack. I feel that's, well, actually it proxies to target as well.
Yeah.
So it's not the attack, the build I was thinking of, but it is going to be some type of aggression, depths with the mobility, and then whatever's going to pop out of the Stargate.
And ShoWTimE right now is reading Hellraiser like a book. This is so frustrating. The proxy Stargate is dead weight.
Yeah.
He's adding 2 gateways, so he's going to have something nice. Glaives are not finished, so even the adepts he's made right now are basically dead weight. And this attack is just finding a really annoying timing. Everything he warps in right now is just not as good. There's energy on these sentries. Hey, go ahead and shade forward.
This is absolutely perfect. And this is not like he didn't add on any extra gateways. He's not stopping probe production.
Oh my
He just
God.
finds Hellraiser quite vulnerable. The shade goes on top, tries to go for the sentries, but a quick pickup from that reinforcing warp prism will also save, I guess, one of the Guardian shields, but there's more reinforcements, and that might be it.
Wow.
That probably is.
And this is, I love this counterplay from ShoWTimE. You don't expect him to get this aggressive, especially against Hellraiser, and here he is doing it. And now the Adepts do have their glaive upgrade, but with this Warp Prism, they basically have Blink. That's going to be it. ShoWTimE is going to put a ribbon on this and go off to face the Frenchman, Mr. Marine Lord, in just a few moments.
Well, it's always nice to see ShoWTimE really in form.
There's an Oracle in ShoWTimE space. Maybe that's something.
Okay. Is it?
Well, nope. There's a shield bearer, so he has to go with this.
Yeah.
All right.
At least he gets it. GG. ShoWTimE takes the 2-0, looking to be in very good form with that very decisive attack there. Hellraiser was probably pretty hopeful about his PvP, and then again, thinking forward, hopeful about the PvT, but now he has to face Raynor.
Yes.
To continue to survive, not even win this group.
And it's his worst matchup by a lot. It's about 52% win percentage for him, and it's because of these European Zergs are just so darn good at this game, and he's now facing arguably the best. So that being said, you know, this is that part where I got to do that caster thing. Well, hey, he also did take a few series off of Serral in the year where nobody did. So he was one of the guys on that list of people that was able to do it. Can he do it again?
He has some pretty nasty rushes, as far as I can remember.
Canon rushes.
Canon. Exactly.
Yes, and I'll have the best seat in the house. I'll be over there on the couch. You guys will commentate it. You guys at home will watch it. Hopefully you're having fun. We'll see you soon.